An ethical dilemma to throw at you. What if you were fired from your current job for something that you did at your old job? Yeah. So listen, CBS News has fired an employee said to be involved in the leak of a video showing news anchor from ABC, Amy Robach, criticizing her own network. So Robach was really frustrated that they wouldn't let her run a story about sex offender Jeffrey Epstein 3 years ago. This was not meant to be a public video. She was on mic but off air. And it is now being reported that ABC warned CBS, which is their competitor, hey, a person that you're working with is responsible for the leak that happened over here with us. CBS has fired that person. But should they have? This is sort of like a little inside baseball. This is biz talk. But what do you make of this, Sean?
Yeah.
This is one of those stories where every single sentence I read made me ask like 10 more questions. Like, what's CBS's policy? What's ABC's policy? Why did she leak it in the first place? Why did someone want to post this video so badly? What are all of the competing agendas here? And I feel like we're gonna find out more soon because apparently she's agreed to do an interview with Megyn Kelly.
With Megyn Kelly.
So, and apparently it's gonna be on like YouTube and Instagram because she doesn't have a show anymore.
Correct.
So who knows? I mean, this is like a developing story, and I cannot wait to hear what all of the motivations are. But should you be fired at your new job for something you did at your old job?
I'd say heck yes.
Yeah.
In this case, given these details, this is a hard yes. And why? Because she's still working in the same industry in a very similar job. And God forbid, like, we spout stuff, I mean, listen, I'll talk about myself for a second. I swear a lot off air. I'm not allowed to swear on air, thank goodness, but I swear a lot. If anything that happens in, like, rehearsal or just stuff that we're shooting around in the makeup room that's meant to be private goes public from somebody I worked with and you knew that was a private moment, how can I trust you in your next job where you're also working with people sharing private stuff off air? I don't trust you.
Okay,
you're fired.
Okay, here's a different take though on Twitter. Jean wrote, the people at ABC who didn't allow the story about Epstein to air are the ones who should be fired. This is why victims don't come forward when it's people in power in control. Extremely disappointed with ABC. And I mean, I understand exactly what Jen is saying. When this leaked video came out, the reporter Amy was saying, like, this is so frustrating. I've been working on this story for 3 years. And before that, Vanity Fair had a story in 2002 who had 2 accusers on record for Jeffrey Epstein. The editor-in-chief of the time said, let's leave those details out because Epstein actually went into the office of Graydon Carter and said, please, like, don't do this. I'm sure he didn't say please. And he said, do not do this. And this is a guy with a lot of power. And, you know, the ABC network didn't run the story, according to Amy, because they had the goods on a member of the royal family. And if they ran that, they were afraid they wouldn't get access to Will and Kate. Like, the politics of this. And I know it's gross, but it just makes you wonder, the people in the most powerful positions in the world, often men, who have so much money to hide and cover up their corruption and their crimes. Like, this is exactly why these stories don't come to light. I sort of see this leaker as a vigilante, almost like I can't do anything.
You know, there are other elements here, though, too, because ABC said they just didn't have enough to corroborate the story.
Yes.
It's journalism, right?
And probably not enough money to lawyer up.
Well, this is the thing, because you've got some huge allegations here. This is Jeffrey Epstein. This is Bill Clinton. Right? A member of the royal family, major people here. And if you can't corroborate those stories, if you don't have the evidence to back up what you're saying, you know, there are legal implications. So ABC was being very, very careful. Having said that, the news industry is a very small industry. And here's how this kind of played out in my mind, right? She now works at CBS. But granted, there are a lot of people that worked at ABC. Maybe a couple of her bosses now, right? Everybody kind of works for different shops, and then you meet up at different shops. So I'm thinking someone picked up the phone and said to their friend, probably / colleague over at CBS, listen, just want to let you know, this is who you have working with you.
This person's a leaker.
This is a leaker. And this is probably, you know, colleagues / friends. It's a very small business. Does she deserve to be fired? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe it was worth being fired for, though. I really do think, like, it was...
well, I can't wait to hear her story, though.
Right.
I can't wait to hear why and what she thought she'd gain.
The thing I think I want to hear is, you know, did she make a mistake at her old job? And did she grow from it in her new job? Or was this all done with intent and purpose and to embarrass her hosts, her superiors? At the end of the day, a producer is someone who's probably not getting paid as much, who probably is kind of working really hard and trying to make ends meet. I think if you live in New York City and you're making producer's salary, you're probably living a relatively tough life. And I think, you know, someone like sort of on the lower end of the power structure is now getting blamed for a whole lot of things. And I really want to hear whether she had a master plan or whether she was in a tough position.
Motivation matters. It does.
I want to hear the side of the story.
Like, I mean, if you caught somebody recording who worked with you, who was making, let's say, racist or highly sexist remarks, or was bullying a member of like another country, for example, on, everyone following me? Yeah. Jeez, it was like crickets. Then I think that does become, leaking becomes heroism in those cases, right? You have to do it. You have to do what's right. But this case, it's a little bit more dubious. This case, we don't know the motivation behind it. Right. Was it altruistic? Was it ultimately for, you know, because she felt like she wasn't being heard? I don't know what the ultimate motivation was, but I think it definitely matters. That's all.
It made Amy look really good, actually, I thought, because here she was sort of pouring her heart out, unfortunately, in front of a camera on a live mic, about how hard she worked to get this story done and how she had all the pieces and they just needed that extra, you know, push to get it over the line. And she comes off as a journalist who takes her job very seriously.
Well, I will say, can I leave this with Amy? Because she has issued a statement since all of this broke, and I'll only take 2 lines from it because it's quite extensive, but she said, "We could not obtain sufficient corroborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about her allegations." This is the woman, Virginia, who was one of the accusers in the Epstein case. She also goes on to say, "In the years since, no one ever told me or the team to stop reporting on Jeffrey Epstein, and we have continued to aggressively pursue this important story." So she's clearly standing behind her employer. There she is. Yes, she is.